Hello everyone, I'm back. So if you saw my last video, you will have seen how I made my masterboard in part 1 into this little board book. So George the Brave, no longer. More like autumn juicy fabulousness, in my opinion. Okay, so there we go. I made that in part 2 out of the masterboard I made in part 1. Now I can't leave old George on the front here, can I, from Peppa Pig, so I need to glue these 2 sheets on. How I'm going to manage the spine here, I don't really know. I'm thinking maybe I could cover it up first and then glue these down. Or I could glue these down and then stick something right over the top. That might work better. I think maybe that's what I'm going to do, but what can I cover this with? Need to go away and have a think about that. Back in a tick. So you see, the thing I've got to manage is something that's going to cover, let me just put those back there, something that's going to cover the spine, but also that's going to cope with being opened and closed like that. And I don't want this edge to show particularly. I suppose another option is I could paint it with my iridescent paint. It's acrylic. It was bronze gold flash. So I did use that to paint down the middle here. What do you reckon? Do you think I could get away with just that? I suppose I could decorate it afterwards, couldn't I? That might be a really easy solution. Let's paint it first, then I can see if I like it. If I don't like it, I can stick something over the top. That sounds like a plan. Okie dokie, so I'm going in with my acrylic paint. And don't know how this is going to turn out, but only one way to find out is to give it a shot. I'm certainly going to need more than one coat looking at that. I think the way that opens, have I got enough? Going to wrap around. I think I'm just going to have to see when I get to that part. Okay, so I do love a bit of bronziness. You'll see from my steampunk books, anything that's a bit metallic always catches my eye. Love the golds, silvers, coppery colours, bronze colours. So beautiful. Right, I'm going to have to go in with the old hot air gun here. So far I'm liking the gold spine that I've chosen to do. I think it's going to work. Drying it out with the hairdryer. I don't think I'll dry my hair with it. It is incredibly powerful. So I will be painting over that a couple of times to make sure that all the brush strokes don't show through and Peppa Pig and George don't show through. Takes a little bit of patience, but well worth it. I'm really pleased with that gold look. So I need a nice sharp edge down here. But actually, I love this bit, so I don't really want to cut that off. I suppose I could stick that on the back. That could be the back piece. Then I'm only losing a little bit of that side. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Just going to give that the slightest little trim. Hope the blade goes through properly without cutting off. Is it a nice clean edge? Yes. So that can go here. can get my blade and cut the rest. Okay, so I'm using this old book. It's actually where I got the background book pages as well for my, what's the name? Masterboard. That's the word I'm looking for. So lots and lots of Pritt stick going on this time. Let's just find a clean page to lean on. Yeah, this was Kerry the Crafter I got this idea from. Thanks, Kerry. Using an old book. He calls it a glue book. A lot of people call glue books that you're gluing, but he calls his book that he uses as a background for gluing, he calls that his glue book. Right, am I doing this right? Do I want to ink around the edges? Oh yeah, I think I will. What was I going to do? Vintage photo. Let's just ink. Thank goodness I remembered. Because I can't really ink that edge once I've glued it down. Oh, it looks nice with those little pumpkin pieces. So those little pieces were some of the patterns that I cut out of my Autumn Patterns and Papers book. It's got all the right colours for this kind of project. So if you're interested, hop over to my Amazon page, author page. It'd be great if you could follow me on Amazon as well. You might or might not be aware that authors have an author central page if they wish to, and I have one, and lots of amazing, kind, interested people have followed me on Amazon already, so which is fantastic, and it means that they get kept in the loop if I've got new books coming out, and they get to see my whole collection just by clicking on my author page. That has worked, don't you think, along there? I really like that. Yeah, so you can join my Amazon page. It doesn't cost anything. It's just means that you follow me on Amazon. That'd be fantastic. And right, let's just trim this. Concentrate. Don't want to muck it up because I'm too busy talking. Just slice that. Is it a nice clean edge? Yes. Right, get in with that. What's the name? What's the name? Vintage photo. Hope it's vintage. Yeah, it's vintage photo. Some more of that lovely goldy coppery fabulousness. I've so been looking forward to crafting with my own books. I can't tell you. Really, last autumn when the books were, I was busy making them, I just didn't have the time. It hadn't even occurred to me that I could start crafting with my own stuff. But oh my goodness, I'm having so much fun. And I love making the books that I've made and publishing them. It's really satisfying and interesting, and it's just fun to see how far I can take my little homemade brand. So your support it means everything to me. I cannot even begin to count the hours I've put in to creating books and coming up with ideas and organising the images, collecting the images together, working out how to do the cover, all that stuff. I have done everything myself, which I'm really proud of. I'm just saying. So yeah, it's all good fun, and so I've got one of those jobs where sometimes I'm sitting around and I've got a little bit of time to get on with some of my own things, so it worked quite well with my day job that I have here in sunny London. It is sunny today, pure blue sky outside. really need to go and mow the lawn. My partner's going to start moaning at me if I don't go and mow the lawn. It's now nearly 3:30. I think the grass is dry enough. Need to go and do that. Right. In fact, I am going to go and mow the lawn. Let's just show you how that worked out. Rather well, though I say so myself. Right, lawn mowing time for me, and I shall be back when this is dry. Definitely need to go over that interior again with that paint, don't I? All the effort I went to, and it's all come off. But hey, I think a little bit of that bronze paint is what's needed. Let's do it now. That can be drying while I'm out in the garden. So I tried to mend a lawnmower once from YouTube. I took the lawnmower apart. I did what the person on YouTube said. I ordered the part. I took it all to bits and did all the things. I spent about 2 hours sitting out on the patio. This was at my old house, fixing my own lawnmower. I felt so pleased with myself. So I plugged it in and it went bang. And there was a lot of black smoke that came out. And I wasn't so pleased. And the part that I'd bought was pretty much wasted, really, wasn't it? So I think I'm going to have to do a few layers of this again. Never mind. We'll keep going with that. Leave that to dry. I'm not going to touch it until it's properly dried out. Right, off to the garden. Try not to blow up this lawnmower. See you in a bit. And it's time to make the cover nice and neat and tidy. I've sped this up because obviously it's a bit more satisfying to watch it quickly than it is slowly. And it was really noisy in my house at this point, so I couldn't really record. Stuff going on everywhere. So anyway, yep, need a really sharp blade to be able to cut through all those layers and the glue as well. I did wait till they were dry. And oh yeah, update on the gardening. So I did manage to get the lawn mowed. It was very wet, the grass, but I managed not to blow myself up. Didn't blow up the lawnmower either, but I did have a bit of trouble with my leaf blower. Bought a cheap leaf blower a couple of years ago. It's very leafy where I live, and our garden just gets full of leaves, which is beautiful for autumn, but also they get all soggy and ruin the lawn eventually and make things all slippery. So yeah, I've started the annual task of leaf clearing. And yes, autumn's very pretty when it's in a little tiny neat book like this. It's not quite so pretty when you're sweating it out in the garden, lugging bagfuls of leaves about, but we're not quite at that stage yet. But my leaf blower, I think it sucked up mud in amongst the leaves, and the mud had gone rock hard. It had also sucked up a plastic cable tie, rose bush tie thing, and that was all tangled up. So yeah, had a bit of a fight with the leaf blower, and it's quite heavy, and in the end my back was killing me and I'd lugged it up and down the garden. It wasn't really sucking up the leaves at all, and it wasn't really blowing the leaves either, so I just got really cross with it and resorted to my broom. So yeah, autumn's very pretty from a distance, not quite so pretty when you have to manage it in your own garden. As you can probably see, when I open the book up, those splits down the middle, the creases are not really working. I tried distressed paint, then I flipped to iridescent acrylic paint on the top of that, and I haven't really found the right solution for that yet. Every time I paint it, it all looks good. I open and close it a few times and the paint just seems to flake off, and that bright blue Peppa Pig book starts showing through from underneath. So anyway, that's something I'll have to come back to. the book is starting to feel really satisfying to pick up. So here I am just using a nail file to file off the edges, and this should help the ink to go into the paper a little bit more around the edges, because I am going to ink around everything like I inked the pages as I glued them in next to the spine. So yeah, I want to make every page have that lovely grungy inky look around the edge of it. And I'm also thinking what to do with the actual edges of the book. So if you turn it on its top end, just what it looks like when it's shut. And I really want a beautiful gold edge to this book. So once I've finished doing the interior pages and smoothing everything down, then it'll be time to think about how I'm going to do the actual edges, because with a board book, of course, you've got really thick pages. So yeah, it's an opportunity to decorate that and make it fabulous as well. So what do you think? I'm really pleased with this. In case you can't tell, I am actually genuinely shocked at how well it's come out, because I've never made one of these before and it's so much fun. I'm really thinking that I might have to do some more of these little books. Or let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see, because it's just, I don't know, I love the sort of themed aspect of it. I love the fact that it's small and manageable, and it doesn't take up too much space in my house. So if I make dozens of these, they're only tiny and they're easy to store. Yeah, really looking forward to choosing some images as well. So in a moment I'm going to show you my books. There I am, just inking around the edges there and just gluing down with my art glitter glue those tiny little bits that sometimes pop off when you ink them, and the little flappy bits of the bark. So you can see where my thumb is there, that's tree bark in the Masterboard. So if you haven't seen me making the Masterboard, you have to nip back over to that video. I've put these in a playlist now as well of autumn crafts that I've been up to, and I've included one of my postcards that I made, which has an autumn theme, and my cut and collage book flip throughs as well. So just tidying up the edges there, and do you know what, the inking, it really seems to pull everything together. It helps that theme kind of flow throughout the whole book, and you can see the center spine areas are not so good, but the actual book I'm really pleased with. So here we are, it's time to start choosing the images, and as you probably saw, this is my autumn pictures to cut and collage book, and I'm just trying to look at the book that I've got, that I've just made, and see what's actually going to work. I really wanted cute creatures in this book, but I'm starting to think it would work a little bit better with something a bit more sophisticated. So I'm looking for stuff like a little cottage maybe. Love that lantern. Perhaps some boots. And it would be nice to have some characters in there, but I'm not sure whether to go for magical folk or the cute creatures, or the more modern looking ladies, or some vintage ladies. There's not very many in this book. Probably not going to use the mushrooms with the eyes, because they're a little bit too cartoony, I want to say, and perhaps not those animals either. Love those little squares so much, but not sure if that's going to work. Not the autumn angels. Maybe some food, maybe some flowers. It is make your mind up time. So I had some leftover autumn ephemera from the little postcard that I made about a month ago. So I fished that out of the little tray where I keep my bits and bobs. That's just a sushi tray. They really are quite handy things once you get rid of the smell of the fish, of course. Yeah, so just getting a good old wash. They are really useful. So that's also what I keep my inks and glue and scissors in as well on my desk, so it's quite easy to keep everything together. I like those little trays. So yeah, perhaps let me know in the comments how you manage all your little bits of ephemera and bits and bobs, because I'm just getting myself organised. Right, so here I am flipping through my book and just cutting out probably more than I actually need. One or two of the images are repeated on different sizes. I managed to find that beautiful little lantern on a smaller size, which I think will work better. So I tried to drill down and distill the feeling of the book into vintage and sort of vintage nature as well, as much as I could, because I do want it to look like a book that's been created in the, in the perhaps Victorian times or Edwardian times, and something that looks old and with a woodland theme, let's say. So I'm just picking out things that I think could work. Obviously, I've got quite a lot of fussy cutting to do, but for now I'm just chopping off the main parts of the white, just so I can get a bit of a feel for what might work before I cut everything really carefully. So, of course, I don't want to cover up too much of the book either, because those backgrounds, I'm just in love with them. They're so interesting already and so pretty. There's a few little gaps and not mistakes exactly, but because I was gluing down quite merrily when I got started, now I'm looking up close at the book, you can see a few little tiny places where the pictures don't quite match up to each other. So I'll be looking to cover up some of those with some of these little images. And don't you think autumn is just such a gift when it comes to the colours? Everything in here pretty much goes with everything else, and all those beautiful oranges and browns, little bit of green, all go so well together. This is what I have been up to since the last part of this video, fussy cutting. So you can see what I picked out. All of these images come from my book, and I have fussy cut them. I've started to ink around the edges as well with my vintage photo ink and my stamper, and I just think that that helps the pictures to blend in a little bit better. Definitely going to need to get some tweezers out. You see, if I don't blend them, they are going to have that white edge, which I don't think I want for this particular project. So I just thought I would share all these teeny tiny images before I start assembling them into the book. So look at this teeny little kettle. How adorable is that? I think it is. So you can see the kind of theme that I'm looking to create in this now. I've got leaves, I've got these beautiful moths and butterflies. That one's even got moons on it. Can you see? Definitely need tweezers for this. You see the moons? So pretty. And I have inked that one so you can see the effect on the corner of the wings there. So obviously I've put a lot of time and effort into this book. I don't want to muck it up by putting the wrong images or things that don't work. So I'm really going to have to use my brain when I film the rest of this project, which I will show for you in one last video. Boots, look. pumpkins. I actually really enjoy fussy cutting. I find it very calming and soothing. So I was watching a film last night. It was The Mirror Cracked, Agatha Christie from 1980. As with almost every single film I watch, I fell asleep at the end, so I still don't know who done it. I may have to watch that last hour again while I chop the veg for our roast dinner today, because today is Sunday, and I usually work on a Sunday, but I've got this Sunday off, so I'm indulging myself. I'm also going to go and jet wash the decking in a minute and the steps, because they're going a bit green. And then hopefully if the weather is dry long enough, I'll be able to oil the deck and it will be done for the winter season. There we go. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a blessed day, a blessed weekend. I may get to finish editing this and upload it today, Sunday, hopefully for you, so you can enjoy. If you haven't watched the other videos in this series, there's the one where I made the masterboards, which I made this little book out of. There's the one where I actually created the book itself, and this one where I finished off the front cover and cut out all the fussy cuts. So part 4, you can guess, will be inking and sticking and deciding where to put all these little beauties inside my book. Don't want to cover up the background too much. It needs to add rather than detract from what I already have. Anyway, right. If you haven't liked this video yet, please do so. That would be massively helpful. And share it with a friend. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I look forward to seeing you again really soon. Take care, guys. Bye for now.